You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Aloe or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does online business better than Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/income.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. This one is a little bit different, and I find myself saying that a lot lately, so maybe they're all a little bit different these days. On this episode, I went on location to the MLK Music Mall here in Portland to talk with Brad Boynton, Ryan Lynn, and former podcast alumni, Mr. Hank Failing. These fellas have something really special going on here in the Rose City. What they have is 3 separate businesses all operating under one roof. Ryan owns Eastide Guitar Repair, Hank runs Hank's Music Exchange, and Brad is the owner of Rhythm Traders. I've been buying stuff from Hank for years, way back when he was at Old Town Music here in Portland, and he is directly responsible for some of my most treasured pieces here in the Shred Shed. We've become buddies over the years, and when this whole operation got started, Hank thought this would make a great podcast episode, and you know what? He was right. We had a lot of fun recording it down in the basement of the MLK Music Mall. So you're going to hear some stuff you wouldn't normally hear because the businesses were still operating above us. In fact, some of the employees had to come in and get some stuff out of the room we were in. So you may hear a little shuffling around, but we're in a working music store. So what do you expect? I'm also hoping to have the full video up on YouTube. I set up 3 different cameras. It's going to be a bit of a heavy edit, but I'm hoping to have that up on YouTube this week if at all possible. So stay tuned if you'd like to watch us blabber instead of just listening. But if listening is your preference, let's get into it with the fellas from the MLK Music Mall. Let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar stuff occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland. With me today, I have
Hank Failing from Hank's Music Exchange.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad Boynton from Rhythm Traders.
And I'm Ryan Lynn from Eastside Guitar Repair.
So today we are doing something quite different, as you can probably tell. We are in the basement of this musical facility here in Portland and doing it live and in person instead of via the internet. And we got cameras going. I don't know how this is all going to work. So we've got enough backups going that we're going to get some content out of it. I don't know what's going to happen, but here we are. Hank's been on the show before.
Probably
5 years ago? 4 years ago?
Nah, pre-pandemic, dude.
Was it? I thought it was during.
Dude, I think it was pre-pandemic.
Wow.
Yes, I think we're talking, let's just say 6 to 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yes.
Too long.
Yes.
Because lots of has changed since
Yes.
then.
Yes.
So in that time frame, at the time you were with Old Town, you've since branched out into your own thing.
Yep.
And this is I bought stuff from you in your basement. So
Yep.
technically your third location.
Yeah, or technically, third location for Hank's Music Exchange.
Yes.
Hank's Music Exchange was started, officially opened 2020 inside of Eastside Guitar Repair in the front.
Yes.
And
was it? No, it was 2022.
I'm sorry,
20.
2022. Sorry about that.
But hey, it's all messed up.
2022.
Yeah.
That was the official start date, but we did get started a little earlier in the basement, which you were one of our early Hank's Music Exchange customers.
The orange cab I talk about constantly.
Yep.
That was a
Yeah.
Hank's purchase. The Dan Armstrong that I play in a lot of videos.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. And then we just sold you the orange head too,
Yes.
which is a really awesome addition to that cab that you just got.
I was thinking about it between with Old Town and Hank's. I
Yep.
was looking around at the shred shed. I'm like, there's like probably at least 16 different pieces of
Nice,
gear that I could
nice.
think of that were like fairly substantial ones.
Yeah,
So,
well, we appreciate it, man. And but the philosophy we had at Old Town and of course at Hank's now is to keep things affordable and accessible for everyone. So keeping pricing kind of like median to lowish price is always what we try to do so everybody can buy it.
yeah. So we did get Hank's general story of several years ago, and we kind of just highlighted it. This is obviously a little different than we're used to doing, but
Yep.
I don't know your guys' story at all, and then we'll kind of coalesce all together at the end. So Ryan, you want to start? When did you get into the industry?
Well, I went to a Lutherie school in 1999 in Phoenix, Arizona, called Roberto Venn School of Lutherie, and I lived in a Volkswagen bus that whole time.
I've had a lot of
Yeah.
Roberto Venn people on the show. Yeah.
Yeah, and I went. I'm from Michigan originally. I went back to my college town for about a year, and I moved out here in 2000. And I've been out here for 25 years. I kind of went around town looking for a job and got a job at a local music store here called Trade Up Music. Worked basically bringing instruments home to my bench that I put in my bedroom, and started working on guitars then. Then I got a job with Breedlove Guitars, and in the beginning of 2021, 2001. And I worked for them until just after 9/11 down in Bend, and lived in, by that time I had a van, and I was living out of that down in Bend.
Down by the river?
Yeah, literally down by the river. Yeah, I was living in a van down by the river, right off the Deschutes. And and then right when I got a place, I lived there for about a month, and then 9/11 happened. I ended up getting laid off. So I came back up to Portland, got a job bartending, and I went back to Trade Up Music. Eventually, I went to Trade Up Music full-time, and I worked there until about 2008. And then I decided to open up my own brick and mortar. And my first location was on Division in 37th here in Portland, in Southeast Portland. I was there for about 3 years. Then in 2011, I moved to Hawthorne on 34th and Hawthorne. And years later, Hank moved in 2022. And and we just moved in here to this location with Brad together to form the MLK Music Mall a year ago. So we just surpassed our year anniversary in this location.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats, guys. That's
Thank
October 1st, I think, was the day.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
cool.
I've been doing guitar repair in town since 2020. Or I'm not since 2020. I keep on getting my years confused. Since 2000, it's hard to believe it's been 25 years. But it's been a journey, and I'm really grateful that people entrust me with their instruments, and I get instruments shipped to me from all over the place too. So
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, down at the shop in Nashville at Stringjoy, like they've heard of you.
Oh,
yeah. Because we have people like, oh, I'm gonna send my guitar over to Ryan. Can you guys send me the strings, before we go down, blah blah, things like that. So, your reputation is quite good all across the nation. So,
When I was, one thing that happened before I started Hank's Music Exchange, I connected with like 5 or 6 other luthiers in town and quizzed them about all the other luthiers in town. And basically, luthiers will definitely have opinions on other people's work.
Oh boy, yes.
But the one thing that they all were positive on was everybody was very positive on you, Ryan. So nobody had any issues with his work, and everybody was like, nope, he's good, he's doing the right thing. And so I knew that Ryan was going to be a good person to work with, which was a good choice.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we do have like a Highlander style death match about once a year.
Yes.
One of us gets picked off every year. So.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
No, he says he's kidding, but I've seen it. It's real.
We're all
Yeah.
pretty friendly around here. So
Yeah.
that's the thing is I try to, my competitors are also my friends. So like, with like the 12th Fret who's in town as well, like I'll go have beers with Ray and, we'll kind of powwow about stuff a little bit and talk and see where the industry's at and once in a while and just, anyways, we're all friendly with each other and we have kind of a free exchange of parts and
There you
things
go.
like that, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's helpful for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Brad, what's the Rhythm Trader story? Now, I'm trying to decide if this is like a, what's that called, Mandela effect or not. But like in my brain, I feel like there was a radio ad at some point, or am I making that up?
I think you're making that up.
Okay. I thought for some reason in my brain I was like a radio ad, but maybe I was just driving by and I heard a different ad.
Yeah.
I
This
mean,
is
I would like to have a super wacky radio ad, kind of like that guy out on 82nd that sells car stereos.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
tweeters for
yeah.
just a buck.
Dude, I like that guy.
Yeah. Outrageous audience.
every day. Gym base for a buck.
So that's on my bucket list is to be able to afford something like that.
Yeah, I don't know why that's in my brain. It's just like I used to drive by the shop a lot on the way to work. And I'm not a drummer, but I was like, that looks like a cool store. And then maybe I just invented something in my brain. I do that a lot, so that's okay.
Well,
but
I'm
what is
kind
the
of-
story?
Yeah, I'm kind of the odd guy out because I'm the drummer here. So I wanted to thank your audience also for allowing me to be here.
We've had a few drummers on that happen to build pedals, and then I found out I don't really play guitar, and so you're not the first.
Yeah. Well, music is all built on rhythm, and so I started Rhythm Traders. I'm also the old guy in this bunch. I started Rhythm Traders armed with a very relevant degree in cultural anthropology.
Oh yes, okay, yes.
And I had been a drummer since I was 8, and so I was interested in drumming in different cultures. Mm-hmm. And so, I thought I'd be a teacher or something like that, and I was applying for jobs, 1990, 1991, and couldn't find a thing. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to buy a one-way ticket to Ghana, West Africa, and I'm going to set up a bunch of like mini internships. And then out of the internships, hopefully I would, find my quote unquote line of inquiry so that I would know what I would go to graduate school to study. So I lived with oral historians. I lived with nomads for a couple months. I lived with a millet beer brewer. That was pretty fun.
All right.
We had a banging business for a second there, and then the thing that really informed my work here at Rhythm Traders was I apprenticed with some drum carvers in the eastern region of Ghana, and so I learned how to carve drums. And ultimately, they asked me if I would market their drums, and so. I came back to Portland and opened up a shop. It was originally called African Rhythm Traders, and it was based on my imports. And so I imported drums from the carvers that I had apprenticed with. And then Rhythm Traders was born. And then what happened was, so that was in 1992 that we opened our doors. We had a little place on Burnside that was kitty corner from Powell's Books.
Yeah.
And then I was always a renter, and so we were in that location for a couple of years, and then we moved to the Eastide, and then my last location before moving here was that Grand and Broadway. It's a T-Mobile right now.
Oh yeah, I know the spot.
And then Portlanders, if you've ever driven by on Broadway and you hit Grand there's the T-Mobile building with a fantastic mural.
Yep.
So we painted that thing.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We partnered with one of Portland's sister cities, and then painted that. And if you look closely, there's a bunch of people playing instruments because the sister city of Portland wanted the mural to be relevant to our business. So there's a djembe in there. There's a couple shakers. There's a couple kids, there's a grandpa, and then here's the funny thing: there's a white guy playing a djembe, and that's me. And so anyway, that's Rhythm Traders, and as that corner sort of started to develop into Cell Phone Row, we had to find another place to move because we were kind of being priced out of our own market. And so, long story short, in about 2008, we bought an old dry cleaners, and you are sitting in the basement of it right now.
Is that what this was?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was a dry cleaner.
Yep.
It was originally a grocery store, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was originally. I have pictures of it from like probably the 30s and the 40s. First of all, there was a streetcar line that went right down. It was called Union Boulevard.
Yep.
Or Union Avenue. And then this was like an immigrant Jewish and Italian neighborhood, and it harkens back to the days before refrigeration. And so this was called Rep Brothers Groceries. And I have pictures of it. And what I'm told is my office upstairs, it has really thick, like 18-inch walls with sand in it, and so that was a cooler, and then that was a way of insulating the room. And it harkens back to a day when people would go hunting, and they would kill, let's say, a deer or something, but they didn't have a way to refrigerate it. And so Rep Brothers, they would actually store your animal or your chickens and goats and pigs, and then if you needed something for the holidays, you would just come get a slice of it or whatever. Plus they were a full serve grocery store. Moved here, and then just to kind of sum it all up, that was right on the cusp of when people started to shop online and use smartphones and whatnot. And so when we first opened up, I was looking for like as big of a store as I could find, because I thought, you got to have a bajillion drum sets, and you got to have 100 djembes and 100 cowbells and all that. And that was kind of the truth, because people still used to shop in local brick and mortar shops. And so we did. We had a bajillion drum sets and 100 djembes and 100 cowbells and all that stuff. But then as the consumers' shopping habits shifted, they started buying online from big box stores first, and then later from Amazon and eBay, and then finally Reverb, which is sort of the eBay for the music industry. I'm sure a lot of your listeners have bought stuff there too. And so what that means is I saw that every year more of my customers were peeling off and then shopping online. It wasn't that they were intentionally trying to hurt me or anything like that, but they may not have realized that keeping their money and their resources in our community was valuable for Portland, because that's what enables all of us to hire local musicians and keep the expertise here. And so I realized, I'm just going to be doing like less business every day unless I figure out something to do with this space. And if I find a way to like shore up my business and make it stronger. And I was thinking, how do I do that when retail across the board has gotten more difficult? And the answer that I came up with was actually diminishing my footprint, and then trying to bring in some music industry businesses that were complementary, that would actually, where we would feed off of each other and create a destination, so that rather than fleeing from the Portland downtown core or like going to an online only format, I was trying to think of like, what can we do to keep Portlanders in the game, to keep resources in our community. And so I downsized my footprint and created a storefront next door, and these two fellas moved in.
Mm-hmm. It's a really interesting concept, because, why do people go to the big box retail stores, right? Well, they have everything pretty much, quote unquote. They don't have everything, but that's the thought process, right? Yeah. But by bringing all of this together, you're starting to be able to offer that same experience, but with more unique offerings and, oftentimes much better prices depending on what it is, and also the expertise of people that actually care about this stuff. And it's weird because it seems like that's just the way it should be, and that's the way it was, right? Back in the day. That's how there wasn't just a global music retailer that dominated everything, right? It was all small independent stores. Yeah. And they did feed off the local community and support the local community, and everybody would go there. And I think Portland has that culture kind of baked into it a little bit. I think people who live here want to do that. But at the same time, the modern era, like, convenience does often win out. But I think if you create something, this is what I've said to other people who have talked to me about starting a store. I'm like, you need to be somewhere people want to come experience, right? Yeah. You can't just throw stuff on the wall and be like, cool, come to my store. I've seen a ton of stores come and go that way. Yeah. It's like the experience of coming somewhere that people like. It's exciting. Like, oh, let's go find out what's there, and then talk to the people and it's like, oh, is there stuff coming in? What have you seen lately? And people that are just as excited about it as you. And I think you found a really unique solution to a rather difficult problem that is, I mean, this could be done in most major cities, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely a thought. With Hank's Music Exchange, it's definitely something we've thought about, like, where do we want to be in 3, 5, 10 years? And it's sort of like, well, Seattle, it'd be great to have like a cool store in Seattle or a cool store in Los Angeles, just because we get people from those cities all the time who say how much they love what we're doing here. And it's like, let's see if, like, maybe we could get a place in LA and do the same thing and hook up with cool people there. Or if you wanted to have a store in LA, it's definitely a thought, but it's the idea that Brad had was like same idea I've had for like the last 15 years too, where I was like, when I worked at Old Town Music, I talked to like tons of other people about like.
Oh, we talked about it.
We talked about it, yeah. And like, and then same thing with like, I had conversations with Jose at Revival Drums here, like, dude, you should move next door to us, and it'll be like Old Town and Revival, and we'll go call Control Voltage, and they'll do all the synthesizers. It's that kind of concept where we've got 3 businesses that all kind of help each other out. And like, you know, the drummer goes over there and like, oh, I need to get my guitar refretted. And then we've got like, oh, I need to buy a microphone for this. And it's super fun because each one of us is like an expert in each one of our fields. And I think our collective experience is like getting close to 80 years or something like that between all of us. I mean, and so we all just live this, and by living it, it's awesome. Yeah. And that's part of the reason why people come to each one of our shops and to the whole thing, because it's like, well, you guys are like head first in this thing. It's like, yeah, dude.
Yeah, and you know, I haven't really seen this kind of concept in other cities either. Yeah. You know, the MLK Music Mall is kind of a thing of our own, you know, conception. And you know, like I do a lot of touring as a musician now. I used to tour a lot more as a guitar tech as well. Every time I'd be in a city, you know, me and one of the musicians will try to go out and find a music store. Yeah. More times than not, we don't find a music store other than like, you know, Guitar Center or Sam Ash or Long and McQuaid's, and if we're in Canada. Yeah. And, you know, I'm really surprised by how many cities have, you know, brick and mortar mom pop style music store deserts. Yeah. You know. Yeah. Or if you go to like one of the stores, they're a little bit more like kind of new cheap stuff, you know. Yeah. And not really kind of the vibe that we're looking for, you know. Yeah. And cuz I like to go to a music store where there's like a lot of vintage gear, kind of vintage candy, cool guitars, cool amps, you know, see if there's that one amp that, you know, that's a real good deal, and then maybe put it in the tour van, you know. And you just don't see that a lot anymore. And, you know, we're just trying to keep the brick and mortar thing going. You know, obviously with me, I'm a repair shop, so I offer a service in it. You know, I don't think automation or AI is going to take over my job anytime soon. So at least I hope not, you know, unless they have like really fancy robots that can do a fret. They can do fret jobs.
They can do fret jobs.
They can't put the frets in, you know, but
there's a lot of things they can't do.
I'll tell you the truth. I'm not a big fan of the pluck machine, but but that's another story. But just you know, doing a lot of touring and being in a lot of cities over the years, I just, you know, I get disappointed with the options of music stores. There's a couple cities that have some cool stores. But, Seattle has a few. LA has a couple, but they're a little spread out, that I like.
Well, time and time again, things just like Trading Musician up in Seattle. They owned the building, and it's like I heard about it selling. And if it was like, I would have loved to have purchased Trading Musician, but like maybe in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
Like because I would have loved to do that. They owned the building. They had parking spots. There were things about it that I was like, oh, maybe I would run it differently, but the timing didn't work out. But I would have loved to buy Trading Musician and like keep all the staff and maybe call it Hank's Trading Musician or something. Or just call it Trading Musician, just so that like people are like, oh, it's kind of different now. And then but then keep everything that made it really special. But the thing is, when a place like Trading Musician is not part of the scene in a place like Seattle, it's just like one more chink against the machine, and the machine is just gone. It's like, and then you're like, okay, so now you've got like online and a big box, and then there isn't like the independent place where like you can just buy something for $200 and be in a band. You know what I mean?
Bay Area is kind of a good example of that.
Too,
Everything's
yeah.
priced out. You can't operate a store and
Right.
make it profitable because it's too expensive to rent.
Yeah.
So, the stores down there have all but disappeared.
I mean, New York City, even
Yeah.
there's
No,
not a lot
that's-
Yeah,
left
there
in New
used
York
to be
City.
that Music Row
Yeah.
right there, and
Well,
it's kind of gone now.
Yeah, there's a handful of still like shops there, but nothing like it used to be.
Yeah,
and
like
it's New York
Manny's
City.
Music. Yeah.
Well, and part of the strategy with renting from Brad is that like Brad's a retailer too. Brad owns the building that we're in. So it's like, and Rhythm Traders is a tenant of his, and so are we. So it's kind of like, yes, like he owns the building, needs to make money on the rent, but he also runs a retail business, and he's going to feel the benefit of having us be there versus like bringing in the latest T-Mobile, like be like, well, they're going to pay me twice as much,
thanks.
but like the rent might not be worth it against like it, but having us all together helps with like the retail sale and just kind of more fun at the end of the day too. You know what I mean?
Hey, Rocky,
What's up, Vincent?
did you hear about the latest?
Latest what?
The latest drop from Maris. It's totally insane.
No, tell me more.
Maris just released Enzo X.
What's that?
Enzo X is a supernova expansion from the original Enzo into the highest quality and most flexible studio synthesizer ever created in a pedal format.
Whoa!
Enzo X combines 5 synth types, 5 drives, 3 reverbs, and 5 modulations. It also includes a full 2.5 second stereo delay, all in one pedal.
That sounds hard to use.
It's not. The UI is from the same family as the Mercury X and the LVX. It's super easy to dive in and see exactly what you are tweaking in real time.
Oh, I see. It's right there on the screen.
Yep.
Is it just for guitars, though?
Nope. You can plug almost anything into the Enzo X, including your MIDI controller.
That sounds incredible. Where do I get it?
You can pick up Enzo X online at maris.us or at any of their fine retailers across the globe.
Did you just say across the globe?
They know what I meant.
Wait, are we getting paid for this?
I'm still waiting on that cash money from last time.
He better at least give us pizza for dinner.
I'm not giving him his Enzo X back until he does.
For more information, make sure you check out maris.us, and apparently I have to go order a pizza. How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services, and it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there. We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the gear exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff.
Sure. And there's there are a few reasons why this works in Portland too. We do a lot of things as brick and mortar retailer and repair shops that the online stores really can't do. And so repair, first and foremost, is one thing that a lot of those bigger sort of national online people can't do. We offer lessons. And, you can like watch a YouTube lesson or something like that, but you can't really replace having a teacher. And then what Hank does is I really like how his store is living and breathing, and every time you go in, it's slightly different from the last time. Yeah, so thanks. If you haven't been in for a month, you need to go again because he has used gear, used and vintage gear coming in and kind of streaming in every day. And that narrative fits really well with Portland shopping habits because Portlanders really like the art of the find. Mm-hmm. And they want something slightly different. They don't want, the trendy, sparkly finish that maybe is big in San Antonio or something like that. Yeah. Nothing against San Antonio. And so this model has really worked well for us. And then because we're all independently owned, we're motivated by different things. And so I'm motivated by what my community wants and what my customers want and deserve. Margin and profit margin and that sort of thing really is, it's not only not secondary, it's something I often don't even think of because I just figure, well, it'll work itself out. The whole business side of it will work itself out if I first and foremost take care of my customers and if they trust me and trust the reason that I'm here, which is not to make money, it's because I'm a musician myself and I'm here to serve my community. Mm-hmm.
And also Portland's kind of a special market too. It's a really special place. The music scene is really vibrant. There's like music almost every night. And I've gone to like bigger cities and there's nothing happening other than unless it's a weekend night, Mm-hmm. And that really supports us. It's supported me throughout the years. I'm one of 3 or 4 main guitar repair shops, and we all thrive here. Yeah. You go to other cities, there might be one repair guy, mm-hmm. In town, and they might not be doing high quality repairs. Like I do full neck resets, restorations, refrets. And then all the bread and butter stuff like setups and rewiring, bone nuts and saddles for acoustics. We do everything. So we'll work on everything from your beater guitar to your $50,000 vintage guitar. Mm-hmm. But that's the other thing is I find guitar repair deserts in other towns too. So yes. Other cities. So yeah.
We've got a ton of stores in Portland, which is really crazy. I mean, it blows me away. New York is pretty light these days, and but we've got a lot, and everybody loves going to like independent shops. There's Parrot Dice. People go there all the time mm-hmm. as well too, and the trade ups are always great too.
The amount of people that, I can't even tell you how many messages I get because people know I'm in Portland. They're like, where do I go? I'm like, I just have a list saved now because I just copy and paste because I'm like, I get this probably 3 times a week. Yeah. Like, I'm coming to Portland. Where should I go? I'm like, here's the restaurants. Here's the guitar stores. Yeah,
if you want the vintage candy, go to Black Book Guitars.
Mm-hmm.
Nate's great.
Yep. Strum, Thunder mm-hmm. Road as well too for that.
Yep.
We've got a really great, diverse amount of everything, which I mean, builders, we've got a ton of builders. It's like Benson is here. I mean, all those guys. So it's just,
and pedal builders too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if I know of any other city that has this many
Yeah.
pedal builders.
Yeah.
per capita, we got to be number
I've punched a few holes at the Mr. Black shop myself.
Oh yeah,
so,
for real, dude.
Well, it was funny because Jack DeVille started out at Eastside Guitar Repair when I was on Division.
That's right.
He started
Yeah.
building pedals in there, and I actually hired him to do amp repair, but he started building pedals and stuff.
He used to live right by there, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And anyways, then we parted ways, but yeah, I'm really happy for his success and everything with Mr. Black. And
Yep.
yeah, those are great pedals. So it's been a wild ride for the past, I've been open as Eastside Guitar Repair for 17 years now. So,
Yeah. Nice one.
Yeah, and for me, it was a weird entry point because I was a guitar player, but I didn't really know anything about gear or tone or anything. And so it was like probably 12-ish where I started like kind of realizing that like, oh, this crate doesn't sound as good as I think that it does, you know? And like just kind of learning. And then around like 2014, probably like Pro Guitar Shop heydays is when I was working, I was doing concrete work for a summer, and we happened to be doing something downtown. I was like, is that the Pro Guitar Shop? Is that the same one?
Yeah.
I see it there, and I went in there, and that kind of like started my pedal addiction,
Oh, yeah.
which is directly responsible for all of this that's happening right now. Like, and I found Old Town shortly after another less reputable retailer gave me a bad experience. I came directly over to Old Town.
Cool. Well,
I can only guess who that might have been.
Who is that? The one that's not here anymore? Yeah.
I have to think who that was.
Yeah.
All right, I'll just
Yeah.
Is it where you got your Rickenbacker?
Yeah.
Oh, those
Was it
guys.
named after fruit by chance?
Yeah, that was a lot of people. I think everybody had a bad experience. I'm sorry. Cut that out, please. I don't want to say anything bad.
I already have. It's okay.
It's okay. Cool.
No, it was but it was why I'm talking about it is because like I then realized I'm like, oh, this is here and that's here. And, oh wow, I'm in like a candy store of a city for this, and I didn't really realize it at the time because I was just playing the same guitar and stuff I ever did, and I didn't really think that much about it, and then I realized like, whoa, there's a whole cornucopia of stuff to explore. And it wasn't too long after that my band, we were recording our first and only record, but we were taking it really serious for a non-serious band, and our drummer didn't have drums. Yeah. And he was always playing other people's drums. And we're like, we're going into the studio, you got to buy a drum set. And what did we do? We came up to Rhythm Traders. We're like, where's got the most drums in Portland? Rhythm Traders.
Nice.
Buddy. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so we came up and demoed all kinds of price ranges of stuff too, because he wasn't really too picky. He was just like, I just want what's going to work for this album. And that kit is still sitting in my studio right now.
Sounds like you ended up with a Gretsch kit that's still working out these days.
It is still working out,
That's
right?
right.
Yeah, I really need some new heads, really bad. Maybe we'll fix that today.
Well, and that's the thing is like you were harkening back to a bad experience, at a music store. I had a really bad experience.
Literally said, you can't play this guitar.
Well, I've had that experience in a music store.
That was a bummer.
Yeah.
And I, in my hometown in Michigan, I'm from Grand Haven, Michigan, a little coastal town in West Michigan. When my cousin and I, we went into a music store, our local music store. We both play guitar. We couldn't afford a guitar, but we're going to be your future customer.
For real.
The dude did not want us to put any fingerprints on the guitars, so he wouldn't let us play anything.
Yeah.
So like, okay, well, we're not going to go there. I got stuck in a pinch because later on I had an acoustic guitar where the end pin jack stopped working. And this is in the 90s. This is 1994. He charged me, I didn't know what he was going to charge me until I picked up the guitar, $150 to replace an end pin jack.
Really?
On an acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he ended up effing it up. Mm-hmm. And he put the screws in sideways and he marred the guitar.
Oh, jeez.
And, he wasn't going to let the guitar go unless I paid.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't ever want to have an experience like that.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, I didn't know at that time I didn't know I was going to go into guitar repair, but I vowed I would treat everybody with respect, and especially if they're getting into playing guitar, I try to be as encouraging and as helpful as possible. And, that's what I see at Hank's. That's what I see at Rhythm Traders. I see that at other stores. And then some other stores in town, not as encouraging.
Most stores, I think most stores are.
Yeah, they're great.
And
all the ones we just talked about are for sure.
And I think like we're talking about, I'll just say Apple Music, but like, and everybody, I mean, especially in the 90s, I felt like there was so much like people would make fun of you and like when you'd come in, I mean, maybe it's just because I was a teenager back then, but they'd like rag on you, and it was like, dude, like in like 5 years, I might have money and spend like $10,000 a year with you, dude.
Even worse for me, it was like, hey, I'm in the market for this, and I was and had the money for the thing I was gonna buy, and I was like, I want that.
So like,
it was up on the wall, and they're like, I was like, I'd like to play that. I'm interested in buying it, and they're like, no, you can't play it.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like,
it's horrible.
I was like, what are you talking about? I can't play it. I'm ready. Like, I'm literally here with money in my wallet to buy it. Yeah. And they're like, well, people buy them online all the time without playing them, so we don't let people play those.
And you're like, what?
Yeah. And I was like, that's not why I'm here. If I was going to buy it online, I already would have. Yeah. I came to play them. That's why I'm here. And I just left. I was just like, fine, I'm out of here.
So just to get into one more weird experience I had at a music store, it's the same music store. They were the Breedlove dealer.
Yeah.
And it was right after I left Breedlove. I came back up to Portland, and I worked in their finish department at Breedlove. I came back up here, and I recognized, I went into their acoustic room, and I was looking at all the Breedloves. I recognized the serial number run, and they were all guitars that I had finished. I had a hand in making those guitars. And, I didn't really get a lot of opportunities to play the guitars before they were shipped. So I went in there, and I kind of like played a couple of them. And I was in there for maybe 10 minutes, and the guy comes in, and I told him I had finished those guitars, and he's like, are you going to buy anything?
Yep.
And I was like, no, actually, I'm never, ever going to buy anything here, ever.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I've helped make these guitars, Yeah,
like, dude, it's like an opportunity to have a personal connection with the person who made that instrument so that you can like extend that personal connection onto the person who buys it, and they just like.
Wouldn't you be excited about that?
Like, I would be.
I'd be like, whoa, that's cool, dude. Tell me about that.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah, tell me about the finish process.
Yeah.
And we had worked on at that time, I worked on a bunch of Madonna's guitars that she had purchased from Breedlove. She bought about 5 guitars, and I finished 4 of them.
Nice.
She bought one for Guy Ritchie, who she was with at the time, and the director, and we got to watch her play on a simulcast, and it was funny because she was taking the guitar that I had finished, and she had this giant belt buckle on, and she just grinding in the back of that, and I'm just like, no,
please stop it. Oh, well, I guess it's yours.
Yeah. It probably makes it worth more money.
I was gonna say, but it is Madonna's buckle rash. It's worth more than mine.
That was during her cowboy phase.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know if it's like a generational thing necessarily, but or what it is. But I feel like there was a time when the mean music store was a trope for a reason, because because everybody had an experience with that.
Yeah.
And even if it wasn't mean, like my business partner Scott, he talks about stores in Indiana when he was growing up, and he was like, I was scared to go in and play because like I wasn't that good, but I was interested, and they would it was intimidating. They were in there like kind of like standing over you and like not in a helpful way, like in a like, what are you doing, kid? Are you gonna buy that or not? Get out of here, And I feel like that was such a trope because so many people had those experiences, and perhaps this new-ish crop of stores and services and things are treating people the way they're treating them because of that.
Yeah.
Like we replace things we probably shouldn't, quote unquote, technically replace all the time. We get crazy emails in that are definitely, it's like, I know that's not our fault, but whatever. That's not the point. Let's make this person happy for your point.
I mean,
then they come back.
Yeah.
Most likely.
The one thing tell all my employees is like, I'm not going to necessarily like fire you for not making a sale or like making a mistake, because we can all make mistakes and everything like that. But the one thing I would fire somebody over is being a dick to a customer, just because that's unacceptable for me. It's just like some of the things that happened at Apple, and literally like everybody in Portland that came from that generation probably has a story, and almost everybody does. That's kind of like on the same par where they're just like super bummed. And the things that they did to people, to me, to my friends, I like tell my employees if they do that, that's the reason why I would fire them, because it's just unacceptable to me. Like we want to have everybody love us, because that's an easy way to make a sale and an easy way for those people to be our customer for the rest of their lives and our lives. And that's, I think, one reason why we're pretty successful. You know, it's like a couple music industry people were like, man, it's like slow. And I'm like, I don't know, we're like doing good. I mean, we're not like banging, you know, but we're still like, to me, I feel like it's going up, and I feel like every day we've got like 4, 5, 6 people that have not been in the shop that come in and like tell me how great of an experience they had, and they're like, "Oh, sweet! I love this place." Like, dude, yeah, we're here 7 days a week. We got the parking lot. These guys are next door.
The parking lot is underrated.
Well, yeah, it was all. I mean,
I like the parking lot.
No, dude, so much so. I mean, it was like when we saw this place, it was like, check, 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 check. Like that works. And there were so many reasons why we thought it'd be a good fit for us. Even the weird layout of the shop, like his area, I could see it not work for another business at all, or be weird.
Yeah,
and
people seek
really
me
well.
out. So I'm a little tucked in the parking lot. I don't have like street exposure.
Yeah.
But
would you even want that?
I had that on Hawthorne, and it wasn't really helpful, because I'd get a lot of I was always helpful to people coming into the shop, but there was a lot of people like looky-loos and
why is
people
this so
like
expensive?
kind of disrupting my work while I'm trying to do some pretty intense work. But it was fine. But storefront retail is not necessary for my business. So I like being kind of tucked away. It's a little quieter in my shop. It's it's a really beautiful space compared to my old shop, and a lot more elbow room.
And speaking of the parking lot, one of the cool things with having complementary businesses that are like different, but then we're all kind of like part of the same music pizza pie, is we want to use the said parking lot for events. And so one of the things that we were just talking about before we were on air here earlier is maybe doing a swap meet or some kind of like other community-focused event. We'll get the barbecue going. We'll play some like 3-on-3 basketball, maybe.
You go.
We'll figure it out. But it's really fun to be with these guys, because everything we do, Ryan said it best recently, that a rising tide raises all ships, and so we feel that by supporting each other, it's going to buttress our own businesses and make them stronger. And then that in turn is just better for Portland. It's better that we don't turn into a repair desert or a lesson desert or a buy, sell, and exchange desert. Portland is fortunate, and they've supported us, and we can't thank you enough. We couldn't have done it without all of you out there.
Thank you.
Thanks,
for sure.
Thanks, everybody.
And so we intend on just supporting each other, making our businesses stronger, so that we are around in 10 years plus. And then apparently we're going to be going to Hank's trading music up in Seattle
or something. Yeah. I would love that.
Yeah. So you guys have all been doing this quite a long time. Let's hypothesize here and say that there's somebody thinking about starting a music store or a repair business or something where they're physically working with instruments like you guys do. What advice would you have for that person? Say they're starting from scratch. They're like, I don't know. I just know I want to work in this environment. What do you suggest?
Can I go first? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So first, most important thing, be honest. Don't lie to people. Don't lie to your employees. Just be really transparent. It's honestly, like we're super transparent on people selling us stuff.
Oh, I know exactly what you're doing.
And then like there's no freaking, we're all on the same team. If you walk into it with that mindset, like the other shops in town, I do not view as being competition, because like if they're healthy, we're healthy too, because we sort of are cycling the customers. And like one of my strategies is like, with every other business that you could call a competitor for us, I try to be their next favorite store outside of their store. So that like, you know, like Thunder Road, thank you, Will and those guys, by the way. They send us like a ton of stuff that they don't want, which is great. And we totally appreciate that. If something's outside of like something we feel comfortable with, we send it to a different store, and that's fine. I'm not a zero sum gain kind of guy. Like if everybody can win is how I feel.
Yeah.
I think if you get into it like that, super positive, not trying to destroy anybody or take advantage of anybody, you're always going to win, and it's going to be easier. And so I think that's the mindset you really want to be at. And I think that's going to just take you really far. I screw up on things all the time. You can talk to my employees, these guys, about things. But the thing is, by having that mindset, it's like, you're going to get through it and figure it out, and it's not going to be a problem anymore.
Well, we take the ethos of the MLK Music Mall and we extend that outward towards all the other businesses in town. You know, we're not insular in our thinking.
Yeah.
So.
Hello there. I'd like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Good Hertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I'd invite you to head over to chaseblinssaudio.com. I think you're gonna like what you find.
Finished training for the day? Time to fight post-workout fatigue with Core Power Protein Shakes. They're packed with 26 grams of high-quality protein to build muscle and electrolytes to help hydrate. The nutrition you need to help your body replenish, rebuild, and repair post-workout so you can power on to the next one. Champion your recovery with Core Power. Visit corepower.com to learn more.
All right, listen up, nacho chips. Quiet down, crispy potatoes. This is the moment Velveeta's been preparing you for, and you're not about to crack under pressure. Today's the day to go all in on the drip. Velveeta's Heat and Eat Queso is the MVP of any game day spread, so stick by them, and you'll be golden. Now get out there and make delicious history. No tailgate party is complete without Velveeta.
I mean, we've got awesome stores in town, so it's like, if I didn't work here, I'd probably go to that place and buy a bunch of stuff. You know, it's like, I mean,
well, and just as a customer, like that's how it's always been with you. That's why I've bought so much stuff from you. It's like, I'm not except for very recently. I'm just a gear hoarder, so I don't do as much trading in. I just kind of sit on it like Smog on all the jewels.
Let me know when you want to get rid of some stuff.
It might happen one day.
Yeah, hit me, dude. I want it.
But when I have, on the occasions I have, like I know exactly what's going on. It's like, hey, here's what we're going to give you for it because we're going to sell it for this much. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. You can't sell it for what you bought it for. I see that, like, I remember that back in the day, people trying to, like, do some horse trading and, like they're like, oh, yeah, but you're going to sell it for this much. And it's like, yeah, I do have to make a profit on it. Like, that is how this works. I'm not going to sell it for what I paid for it. Otherwise, I'm not going to be around very long, you know?
Rarely do people not understand that. And when they don't, it's kind of just on them. I mean, I just try to get in. We're doing this all together, like, and it's not a competition. Like, and people get on board I mean, I'm handling an estate right now, and like it feels good to just be honest with them, to be honest with you, and like they don't know what things are worth, but I can explain it to them, and I kind of love it when that happens because I can tell that they feel comfortable with it, and I like that.
Well, and see, you don't know this about me, but I'm kind of like the dad in Christmas Story with other things where I'm like, at a car dealer, I'm like, let's haggle, let's do it. I'm here to haggle. But I don't haggle with you. I'm just like, that's the price. Cool. All right, let's go.
Well, because I disarm people, and so like if you disarm people and like
well, I also know that it's like that's a fair price because I know what it's worth. Most of the time. So I'm like, why? I'm not going to argue with it. That's a fair price.
Well, the other thing that's important to me that worries me about the market is inflationary costs of used gear over time, and so like. There's a lot of gear out there, and I worry about gear just, even though there's a ton of it out there, things going just sky high. And if we can price it like, let's say it's $800 to $1,200 is what you see on it, and if we price it at like $900, everybody's going to feel pretty good about that, and it means that, I don't know, it just makes it more fun. If we put like $1,400 on it, and the market's like $800 to $1,200. I don't know. It's just kind of is less fun. It's more like money. You know what I mean? And I don't know.
It does. That is interesting because it does. I didn't really think about it in that way, but the more often things sell for that higher end price point, the higher that price keeps pushing. And even though the product's already made, there's no extra cost that goes into producing it. It's existed for 20, 30, 50 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So the costs have already been absorbed. Like that's not the factor anymore.
To me, does that like if the price on things goes up, gets more expensive, becomes more, I don't know, like less people can buy it, maybe less music can happen is kind of my feeling. And I sort of like things to be kind of cheap. And, sometimes when we get like too much of something, I just put stupid prices on it. And you're like, and you'll look on Reverb and you're like, these go for like $1,000 and you've got like $500 on it. It's like, we have like 6 of them right now.
Yeah, so that's got to get them out the door.
And like I want there to be like stupid deals on things so that people like feel totally hooked up, so that we just put like a little advertisement in their brain and they're like at home and they're like, oh dude, I got to go over there, man. And
there might be something else in there.
Like I sort of like the idea of sort of a sort of dirty garage sale vibe.
Oh, the amount of times that I've been in just to say hi and I'm like, oh, what's that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I want you to be like so tempted to buy stuff like every time, like it hurts you not to buy something.
That's how you're doing it.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a little bit tangential there. Like, so what would you guys say to that question?
I think the main thing is just do it and be authentic and be yourself and just have a mentality that failure is not an option, because if you have passion in something, you can do it. And so that's kind of one thing. And then also build relationships. This is one thing that Hank and Ryan keep on saying, but like we believe that Portland is a better place with more music shops, more repair shops, more recording studios and teaching studios. And so not only that, like if we've done something with our little music mall, it's to create like a magnet that hopefully will encourage other people to start businesses, or maybe even better would be to relocate near us, so that we become a destination, and that and then our businesses will all be stronger because of it. So do it, don't fail, work with others. And the world will be a better place because of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's about relationships, with people in the community, other music stores, other luthiers, repair techs. If you're going to get into this business, into repair work, into guitar repair, lutherie, like there's so much information now than when I started. It's all over the internet. There's so many YouTube channels now that show you how to do everything. You don't necessarily have to go to a lutherie school anymore. You can, learn a lot just by watching or going into your local shop and apprenticing. But what I would say is just form relationships with people if you're interested in guitar repair or into guitar making. Also, if you're repairing guitars, know when to stop. If it's something above your head and, unless you're practicing on an old harmony or something like that, if you have a vintage guitar, you can do irreparable damage to that guitar if you're not careful. And ask for help. There's such a huge community out there. And if something's beyond your grasp, don't be afraid to hand it to a guy that can do it. You'll learn, but it's a kind of a slow process a little bit. And, if you try to do something that's above your level, you can do some damage. So it just ask for help. I'm here. You can give me a call or whatever,
Yeah.
And, I'm always giving advice to other people and, but also, don't be afraid to go out there and do things and take it on as well if you feel like you're capable of doing it. So have a little confidence in yourself too.
Yeah. I really like what you said about like not being afraid to, or, like recognizing where you're at. And I think that applies to a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking back to, it was a good experience, but before I really knew even close to as much as I know now about guitars, my grandpa discovered that his Les Paul Jr. was worth money. He'd had one. I didn't even know he had it. It was just in his closet. He was watching Antiques Roadshow and it came out and he's like, well, I got one of those, and it's a 55 Les Paul Jr. And so, he knew I was real into guitar. He mostly played piano. And he's like, yeah, I got this old guitar and I saw it on Antiques Roadshow. And I was like, you have a what? And even though I didn't know that much at the time, I knew that was cool. I was like, I've seen a lot of bands play it.
Yeah.
But it had the classic, bridge pins pulled forward thing that those tend to do.
The bridge studs.
Yep. And so I was like, oh man, that's beyond anything I can fix for sure. I can do a little setup work, but this is not for me. And I was just thinking of how sad I would have been had I taken it to somebody that sucked and I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I took it to Fretworks and they did a great job.
Yeah, they do a great job there.
They did a phenomenal job. And but they also told me, they're like, this, just so you know, when we pull these, it might crack the finish a little bit. Like we can do it as good as we can, and they set the expectations. They perform the repair great. It still holds. It's still great. Yep. But I'm just thinking like, oh man, if I had taken that to somebody else that didn't really know what they were doing and didn't set those expectations, how sad I would have been.
That's another great point, is setting expectations with the customer.
Yeah, I actually, I think it's super important. It's like we have sort of a process of connecting with customers in a way so that their expectations are met right from the get-go. And I think that's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's totally, especially these days, and I talk about this a lot with like custom builders, because unfortunately in the custom guitar community, there's a habit, there tends to be a habit where it's like, oh, this builder got really busy and fell behind, and maybe they're not really very adept at running a business. They've never done it before. And now all of a sudden my guitar, I put a down payment on it. It's been 8 months. I haven't heard anything from you. What's going on? Yeah. And sometimes those people end up just vanishing, which is even worse. Yep. But I'm like, man, so much of that could be managed by just responding to your email.
That can happen with repair guys too. I've fallen into that trap, to be honest. And I try to get to my back burners, and I call them back burners. Every repair guy has them, amp guys especially.
Yes.
It's tough.
But it can be tough sometimes when you have like a backlog of repairs. But I try to be honest with my customers, tell them where I'm at, and if it's a long-term repair, like if it needs a lot, I just don't put a due date on it. I just tell them up front, expect this to take a while, because I'm pretty backlogged.
Yeah.
But I try to get it within a reasonable amount of time too. So, but that's the other thing I want to get into, is I want to get back into building, guitars. So that's one of my goals.
You used to do that too back in the day. Yeah.
So, I love building acoustics. That's a tough market to crack, but I'll probably start building some solid body electrics. I have a lot of customers that want me to start building, because, doing repair work for 26 years, you end up kind of seeing what works in guitars, and try to make a guitar where the headstock doesn't break, maybe.
What? That's impossible.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. What are you guys talking about?
Like a rubber thing there. Like,
My dad, back in the day, we used to have kids, driving by and hitting our mailbox, right? And so he eventually put a rubber one up that was on a hinge. So he'd smack it and it would just flop over, and they'd be like, "Cool, we ruined the mailbox," and he'd just go knock it back up.
I thought you were going to say he built a big cement structure.
Yeah, I was
with
gonna say.
steel reinforced.
So they figured that out and they blew it up. And so he did just that, got a solid, thick steel one, and it came out one day and it had a little kind of mark in it. And we could tell that hurt somebody's hand.
Awesome.
When they drove by. So yeah, steel reinforced necks is what we're going with. Oh, that's a thing already?
Yeah.
Well, that is a thing, yeah.
Or aluminum.
Yeah. Well, we are getting close to the end of the main episode, and I have 2 classic questions I always wrap this up on. And I figure we better get into that since there's 3 of you. And I don't remember, Hank, what your answer to this was, so I'm going to ask you it again. So there's 2 questions. So first one, what is your favorite Boss pedal? I'm not sure if you're going to have a favorite Boss pedal. Maybe kick drum pedal?
My favorite Boss pedal, can I say 2?
Sure.
Okay, so there's like 3 now. PS2, pitch shifter delay. I have one of those and I love that thing. It's rad. You can be 100% wet with it. You can do pitch shifting. The delay feeds back on itself, which is really cool. I think first gen DD5 is the other one. I was using one of those for a long time and I still really like it. You can do some cool 100% wet stuff with it and really tight milliseconds to have a really awesome flange with it. So I'm a really big fan of that. I think that PN2 and DD5 are worthy of a Wazacraft remake, maybe. Yeah, over there, Mr. Boss, you can, in Japan there, you can figure that out. But that's a thought of mine for a while, PN2. Wazacraft should do a PN2.
Yeah.
Hands down, no excuse. Maybe with like a tap tempo option, so there's like a digital to analog converter thingy in there.
Aaron, Matt, any of the Boss guys, you hear that?
Dude. Anyways, sorry, that was 3 right there.
All right.
Mine, the TU3, that tuner's indestructible.
Yeah.
I use it on stage, when I play in my band. And also the DD3. I like the 3. Yeah. And it has that little cool reverse feature on it. I sold mine a long time ago, and I wish I wouldn't have.
DD3 doesn't have reverse. DD5.
Maybe it is the DD5. It's the DD5.
Yeah, okay, the
sorry
5.
to interrupt there, but
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I was going to. So
that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I sold mine so long ago, and I kind of wish I would have kept that one.
Yeah.
Because I have in my personal collection, I probably have, I don't know, probably about 80 different pedals. And I can only use just a couple at a time. But
what?
Yeah.
That's not my understanding.
But yeah.
And I think I'm going to punt on this question.
Yeah.
All right, what's your favorite kick drum pedal?
What's your favorite cymbal? How about that?
Yeah, well, let's go kick drum pedal because,
Yeah.
We're on the pedal theme and everything. Well, in general, I like pedals that you don't have to plug in and you don't have to change a battery on it.
Yeah.
Maybe a chain once in a while.
So a chain or a spring sometimes. So the thing about drum pedals is they're very kind of like tactile. You can fix them yourself. A little bit of duct tape, a new screw, some WD-40 to keep it from squeaking or whatever. But I'm gonna have to say my very first drum pedal was a Ludwig Speed King, and so it was. It was before the Ghost pedal came out, which was another one like in the 80s or whatever. But the Speed King was just like a workhorse, it's just like a ham sandwich or something like that. It gets the job done. And if you can't, play quickly with that, then you're not going to be able to play quickly with a Yamaha FP9 direct drive, which is granted it's a pretty fast pedal. So
It's like the Ferrari of pedals compared to the Corolla of kick pedals.
The Ludwig Speed King is definitely, it might even be a Datsun,
which became Nissan. But
Cool.
All right, final question, and this could get real nerdy depending on how far we go.
I can go there.
What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Pizza. I think this is what if I don't know what to do at a pizza parlor, I usually get a veggie with sausage on top because I think that's always a solid way to go. It makes me feel not guilty because I'm eating my vegetables, but then satisfying my inner, caveman, eating like some nice spicy sausage on there and stuff like that. So that would be my pizza of choice.
Yeah.
Mine is Neapolitan style, thin crust, wood-fired oven with sausage, mushroom, and pepperoni.
That sounds nice.
And
yeah.
Portland has some awesome pizza. Yeah, there's some great pizza places.
Oh, yes,
here.
we do.
My top three are Ken's Artisan, a Pizza Shoals, and Lovely 50/50.
Yeah, Lovely. I still haven't been to. I need to get there. I would add, especially if the Neapolitan is your thing, Turning Peel over.
Oh, Turning Peel is amazing too. Yeah, I love that place. Yeah,
love Turning Peel. Yeah.
Well, as luck would have it, I was in Italy last week.
Oh, now we're talking.
And they have pizzas, and it's really funny. I was talking to someone here. They're like, "Oh, I went to Italy and I got a pizza, and they didn't even cut it." Because they tend to be kind of like personal size pizzas, about
I went
15
to Japan
to
and got
16
ramen,
inches.
and the noodles were long.
Yeah.
So I had one day. Yeah, it was about 10 days ago. I was in Rome, and I took a TripAdvisor bike ride. And it was fantastic. We went by the Trevi Fountain and the Colosseum, and we just drove around. And I hadn't eaten yet. And then I had just enough time for my hitting session on the clay tennis courts along the Tiber River in Rome, because I also found, you can find like everything, food tours and bike rides and hitting partners for tennis or whatever. So now it's like 1, and I take a cab over, take a tennis lesson, and then now it's like 3:00 and I still haven't eaten. And then I'm walking through a local neighborhood, and they have focacciarias. So it's basically like square focaccia bread with like the freshest ingredients ever, like tomatoes that actually taste like tomatoes, and artichoke hearts that aren't marinated. They're just like yummy artichoke hearts. And then interestingly enough, you're like, yeah, I'll take that and that and that, and then maybe a little more of that. And they sell it by the pound. Or they sell it by the kilo. So it's 800 grams, 1,200 grams, whatever. Fairly inexpensive, and so you can get 3 or 4 or 5 different focaccias with the fresh toppings for like under $8 in Rome. So I definitely recommend the Focacciaria. And Portlanders, we're known for our pizza. Focaccia, that was kind of a thing in the 80s here. I remember going to Boulevard Cafe, and it was the first place. They were on Barber Boulevard. The first place that I went that had like, a house-made focaccia. But anyway, I think Portland would be a better place with focacciarias.
I like that. That sounds great. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for hanging out. We'll slide over to Patreon, see what kind of nonsense we can get into over there, if that works for you guys.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
All right, cool. All right, everybody. For Hank, Brad, and Ryan, this is Blake. And as always, folks, good luck and good tones. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. I really, really had a great chat with those guys. And we got into some really serious, for lack of a better term, business discussion on Patreon, talking about real world events and what's going on right now, without getting too spicy. We're just providing a dose of realism for what many small businesses are currently experiencing due to the ever-changing legal climate in this country. So if you're interested in hearing the perspective of some very, very experienced music gear industry people sharing their thoughts, that's the one for you. For $5, you get access to all the bonus episodes, and you get access to the ad-free feed. So if you can, please head over to patreon.com/tonemob, where you can get access to that for just $5 a month. And it really goes a long way to help keeping this show healthy and keeping it going. Huge shout out to everybody who's been supporting over there. It really means the world to me. Thank you all so much. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend. That would also move the needle in a huge way. Every single download counts when you're a show this size. So I appreciate you all so much, and I'll talk to you on the internet very soon. Bye-bye. One last thing before we totally sign off here. I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.